Right, comparison time. So you guys have seen the barrel brake. Obviously I collect the barrel brake, as you guys know, so I've got the barrel brake in every form. I've got two of the original colours of this, and then I've got these two. These are like brand new still without the box, but you can see there's not a single scratch on them. So yeah, these are more collectible. I don't really use these very much. The springs are really good in them as well, and the triggers are really good in them. So yeah, they're just sort of collectible display pieces now. But yeah, so these ones aren't really going to be used, but we're going to be comparing the two here. So obviously, straight away the barrel brake comes with a rail for the darts, and this one doesn't have it. A lot of the people lost theirs, so all my original ones don't come with it. I don't think even this one comes with its red one either. So this green one does have its original one, and you would just take the dart off. You have to open it, and the annoying thing is it doesn't just open. You have to slide it forward first, and then prime it. You have that ratchet in system where it ratchets the prime, and then you can just load in your darts. And there's a little like stopper in the front that stops the darts from falling out, and then when it closes, that will drop down. You can either pull the whole trigger and it will fire both, or pull it slowly and get one and then the other one. As you can see, I can do it one and the other just by thumb even. This has a very nice trigger as well. A lot of these tend to have really bad triggers, really like you can't stage them. I've noticed like some of them. My other one of this doesn't. You can't really stage it. This one has a nice staging system. So you can't really do it straight away sometimes. You've got to kind of ease the trigger. There you go. And then you get a much spongier last trigger. These work quite well. Don't shoot very hard or very fast. You can see this was just over here to the wall, about a couple meters, and it hit the wall but didn't hit it very hard. But yeah, so there you go. Obviously I only loaded one, but it doesn't really matter. It has two systems. So this has, as you can see, it's better to see it on the clear one. You can see it has two individual priming tubes that prime together, like that. There's a lot of parts in this. You can see how nice this trigger is too. This gun has not been primed very much, so you can see. I bet this one has the same. Yeah, very nice triggers because they haven't been primed or shot very much. Very smooth to prime too, as you can see. This one has a bit more harder to prime, and it kind of goes like that, and I prime it. That's just because of how much it's been used, and yeah, they're much harder to stage the triggers. But bit of a cack-handed thing, as you can see. So people kind of got over that over the years, and people enjoyed this. But it doesn't have any shells, and you have to use official darts because of the way it loads them onto each priming bar there, as you can see. So when it goes back, it pushes the darts onto it. So you can't use any mini darts, whereas this, it uses one plunger that you cock like that. Just check it's unloaded. Yeah. And then you have a gauge to go to both barrels, left barrel or right barrel, which I quite like having this system. It's quite nice. Doesn't shoot very hard with both, but I quite like to shoot one at a time anyway. So the way this works, as you can see, it has sort of like an inner barrel tube and then an outer barrel tube. The inner barrel is to hold the shell, and obviously the outer barrel is so the dart can get out nicely. You can see it's smooth on there. I took the rail off of my version, as you can see, so it's more standard, just so you can see there's no distractions as well. And you can see the extractors on the inside. There's two little lips on the inside there at the very bottom of this black tube, and that holds onto each shell. And very, very clever. It's just thick enough to hold onto the rim, and just thin enough so it doesn't get in the way of the dart. You can use any darts in here. I've got a 3D printed bullet into I blow it out of the tube into the dart here. You can use any darts you want. This is more for accuracy. I know it looks like it's dangerous, but it's actually for accuracy. You can fire this much further distance because it's got a bit more weight to it. If you can fire it in a more powerful Nerf gun, which this is, you can get some nice ranges out of it, and yeah, I can show you guys that. You put it in, have to push down so it locks. This one's gotten smoother over time. You can reach in with your finger and push it if it's long enough, if your finger's long enough, but you can literally put any shell you want in here, that's the thing, any dart you want, as long as it fits into the tube. So like if you took one of these full length darts, blow it out of the tube, and there you go, like that, and that will work perfectly fine too. As long as it can reach into the barrel, it's fine. So it's really, using mini ones is just to maintain the look of the shell, but you can fire these just the same. So I'm going to show you the full length dart and one of my own darts on this. And I've got a little target set up just over there, as you can see, on top of the microwave, if it'll stay. Yeah, there we go. So this isn't primed, I'm just going to look down the barrel to see which one I've got first. So the full length dart is on the left and the 3D print's on the right. It's just so I don't have to open it again. Okay, so let's try it. So full length dart first. So I actually missed, that went to the right and hit my bag of cans. So let's go to the accuracy one, you'll see the difference. That bounced back and hit over here. As you can see, it's got a lot of power to it, and it hits where you want it to go. Ejector shells, which I really like. This doesn't have that, and if you don't want them to eject on the floor, if I just grab them again, as you can see, the other one's rolled underneath the table. It tends to happen. You can go like that, like you would with a real shotgun. Gonna have to go and get that shell now, but yeah. So it's as simple as that, and you can use all different darts. I'm going to try and get some more ammo types, and we're going to try and test them out because you can get like micro darts which work really well. If you put like 2 or 3 of these in a shell, you can fire them out. What I like about this is you can actually slam it closed, so if you do that, you can go like that alright without having the shells get stuck. But yeah, it's very fun to use, and it's way more fun than the barrel break in my opinion. Just because of that, you can use different ammos. You don't have to be restricted just to one ammo type. And this is very wide and clunky. It looks very spacey. I know that's probably to stop people from painting it and make it look a bit more realistic. This kind of high top at the back kind of reminds me of Bioshock. It's got a Bioshocky kind of feel to it, but it's not like classic. It's not got that classic double barrel look. It looks like something out of Doom. Whereas this, it's got that kind of old western look. If you take the rail off, and then if you want that kind of sporterized look, you've got that rail that you can just put back on anytime you like. But it's got a really nice look and feel to it. It's very light as well. There isn't a lot of weight to it. It has a bit of weight in the handle. It's definitely heavier than like the shell ejection Glock, but it's a little bit lighter than this, definitely, just because this has more parts in it. There's so much more going on in this thing. Like, it's such a complicated gun. For a double barrel shotgun, I've never seen something so complicated, and I think that's why they wanted it clear. It's about the same size. I mean, if you actually put barrel to barrel, because obviously the barrel's here, it's about the same size. It's just got that barrel shroud on the front for the front. It does have that over this. This just doesn't have any sights. It's more like a traditional shotgun. You've got this rear leaf sight, and you just sort of put it with the front. Whereas this actually has a kind of bead system. If you actually line it up, you can kind of see, and you can see where the front sight is at all times, even if you put it low. So it lines up with the rail. And it's very accurate too. I've always found these to be very accurate, and it's quite quiet. Once you've actually primed it, if you prime it slowly and shoot it quite slowly, it's quite accurate, goes to where you want, but not very far. Like, it will just get out of this room type of thing. whereas this can go out of the room quite easily, and I can obviously show that. Literally just like it's gone. And one of the accuracy darts again, I've got one of those. There's a red rug on over there on the radiator. I'm just going to fire it at that. You should be able to hear it. I thought it was going to make more of a noise, but it hit it and went directly off. So yeah, I think this has a bit of a seal problem. When I fire this, I can feel a bit of air coming out of the bottom here. Let me know, guys, if you know how to make these more airtight. I definitely feel some sort of wind coming out of this. But yeah, so I definitely would recommend this over the barrel break if you're, you know, a kid trying to get hold of the classic Nerf guns and you're trying to collect them. That makes sense. But if you're just a kid trying to get hold of some cool Nerf guns and you don't really care about the worth of them, trying to get hold of the barrel breaks, unless you're getting them on Facebook or in a charity shop, then I wouldn't really recommend like getting this. It's quite bulky, and it's okay for when this came out, and I definitely like how it's got ambidextrous like releases on here. This has a release in the trigger guard, so that is a safety issue because you're putting your finger on the trigger to open it too. So they have eliminated that. Your finger doesn't naturally go on the trigger on this, it rests on the outside. You have to physically try to put it in. And then it's got the release where your thumb is, so it all kind of goes nicely. If you want more of a weightier gun, this one is definitely better. But they both point just as naturally. If you can see this look here. This kind of feels awkward if you've got small hands. It's quite wide, but it fits quite nice. It's got that cavalry angle to it for having a cavalry holster. But yeah, this you can eliminate it with this version. It's got this ridge. You can bring your hand higher up like that and just go like that, and it kind of eliminates that a little bit. But yeah, they both point just as good and they fire just as nice. You have the obviously not updated, but the advantage of having it both primed. You don't have to prime it again. You can fire and then fire the other one. With this, you have to cock each time unless you switch to the middle, where that will fire both. But this, you can fire one at a time, like more easier than this. You'd have to switch to the left, cock, fire, switch to the right, cock and fire. So if you want that kind of old Western feel where you're having to cock each time, like you would with a hammered version, it's kind of like that. But this does have a nicer feel to it, and if you like lions, it's got a lion on it. But yeah, you can get different colours. You don't have to get red. You can get blue and gold and different stuff. You can get a brown version. But if you live in the UK, don't buy a brown version because you won't get it. Customs will seize it. I'm pretty sure when customs saw this, they probably had a heart attack just seeing it on the scanner, because if you look at the outline of it, it's pretty scary looking. It's an old double-barreled shotgun. So the fact that it's got these red pieces is what makes it legal in the UK, and it's very dark red. It does look brown from far away. It's not really something that's like, oh, that's red, like this, you know what I mean? But yeah, this is so it can get through customs. Customs probably took this out of the packet, saw these things, and were like, oh, we can't take it off them. They've got a white barrel, it's got red on here, red there. It's 50% bright colour because of this red guard. This whole half is multicoloured and this whole half isn't, apart from this. These probably what make it 50%. This is probably about 49%, and then these what make it the 50. So yeah, if you live in America, you can obviously get them, but if you want to make this a prop, you're gonna have to paint it yourself if you live in the UK. But this, bear in mind, this does have like a rubberized material, so it does feel different. I don't know if that's going to affect how it feels when you spray it, or if it's going to stay on there. But yeah, the trigger pull is not too bad either. It's about the same for both. This is a bit lighter, does feel a lot lighter, not really light, but definitely noticeable. I think the centre of the weight is about, where is it? Let's try and find the centre of weight here. It's probably about there, yeah, here. So there is a bit of weight in here. It's like a jolt, internals inside. But yeah, I'm hoping that every model has a good air system, because if they don't seal very well, then you will find that like some like the right barrel might not work as good as the left. I've heard that in some versions of these, for instance, like they'll make one spring really light, but I haven't had that in mine. Like I said, I have noticed a bit of air coming out the bottom, but not enough to really make much of a difference. But if you guys know any better ways of sealing these type of guns, let me know in the comments, because I could probably take this apart quite easily. There isn't much to this. I think the only thing will be this selector. I'm not sure how this works, so yeah. But thanks for watching, guys. I definitely think they're both cool. Compare it to the normal one, but I think this one wins just because it's got that realistic look to it. I do like the switch on here, even though you don't have to switch from here. You don't actually always get a nice trigger on these, which is what I was saying earlier. So you may try and fire one shot and it will fire both anyway. You also get the sometimes you'll get a weaker spring in them, or people will leave them primed and that makes them weaker. So that is obviously a thing. What I like about this is you can load it and then you don't have to prime this until you're actually ready to fire. So I tend to actually prime this with my other hand. I don't like leaving this primed whatsoever. It has a nice spring, has a nice power, so I'm not going to leave this cocked at any point, even like before firing. It's literally just before I fire, I'll cock this bar. You can remove this. It is a bit wobbly, but you obviously have to hold on to the stick at that point. But yeah, it's quite good. I like the rail. The optic does line up with the darts. I learnt that when I was firing long distance with the long distance darts. So yeah, it's really cool. These are only 20 quid on AliExpress if you can find the right seller. Make sure you find the right feedback and you'll get this at a good price. I mean, it's very hard to find one used for that price, this price nowadays for this, unless you're getting it from someone that's just getting rid of their whole lot of guns, and this is in the collection, which is how I got this. So yeah, there's not really much else to say. You can load pretty much any shell you want in this. You can even load a knitting needle, like a long, thick knitting needle, into behind the dart. Put the dart in the shell, feed it in, and it will fire it out. Literally anything that's the right size, it can fire out. So I'm going to be looking for more ammo, like I said earlier. And yeah, we'll give it more of a test out. But I definitely highly recommend this. There's a lot you can do with this gun. And if you just want to load one side, you can. It's probably easier. But yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. Comment, rate and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.